So if you're a fan of From Software games, this is a special time in your life because you would know that Elden Ring will soon be released.
Life is brilliant, beautiful, is intense, to the point of obsession.
Sweet, sweet Elden Ring. You will soon hold it in your arms, and you will once again have meaning. You will once again have a reason to live. Elden Ring, guys. You've probably heard some slanderous rumors online.
Oh, Elden Ring is just big Dark Souls.
That's a popular one. And then you got...
Elden Ring's gonna be a big letdown, just like Cyberpunk. Oh.
Shut up! Shut up. How would you even know? You've never set foot for more than 5 seconds on the Soulsborne train. You're trash. I spit upon you. Frankly, it's embarrassing, because you can just tell how bad these people were at the game, and so they're like, oh, it's too hard, you gotta make these easier. Well, I'm here to tell you that these games are not that hard. I'm probably just preaching to the choir here, but they're not that difficult. They're not that hard to figure out, honestly. I was once a pleb, an unskilled, fool, loser boy. All I would do is play Modern Warfare 3 and eat cheese and crackers in my mom's basement. But then, I played Dark Souls. And then, I got good at Dark Souls. And then I got so good, I can even play the game blindfolded. I'm not sure what's going on, but I have complete confidence in myself. Just gotta find the bonfire. I'll listen for the ash. Okay, I think I'm at a wall. In all seriousness, what I want to talk about is Elden Ring's difficulty. If you type into Google Elden Ring difficulty, you get this. People ask, will Elden Ring have a difficulty? Is Elden Ring hard like Dark Souls? Does Elden Ring have an easy mode? How long is Elden Ring? I laugh because
Elden Ring has no end. It sucks you in. It's a cursed game. It'll pull your soul out of your body. You'll be stuck in the game forever. If you die in the game, you'll die in real life.
it does not confuse me in the slightest that people would have these questions. These questions are very fair, because people want to know, is Elden Ring easier than the other games? Well, I feel difficulty in these games is purely subjective. Someone's going to say Dark Souls is the hardest. Someone's going to say, oh no, it's Dark Souls 3 because of Midir. That's the only reason it's the hardest game. It's because of Midir. They're going to bring up Midir at some point, or the Nameless King. And then you got another guy who's like, no, Sekiro is the hardest. And then some other guys can be like, Sekiro's not even a Souls game because you can't roll in Sekiro. Point is, people are going to have different opinions on which is the most difficult, and on which features make it more or less difficult. Someone might say Dark Souls 2 is easy because the bosses are super weak and lame. But you could also say it's really hard because it's super janky and your character will just like run off cliffs and do random crap that you didn't want to happen. Why is the character so hard to control in this one? I don't understand. Isn't it the same engine? Let's take a look at Margit, the Fell Omen. A lot of people said he was really hard. A lot of people were able to beat him and make it to the end of the network test. Now, I wasn't able to play the network test, which is fine. I forgive you, From Software, Miyazaki. So it's hard for me to gauge how hard it was personally. So I can't gauge the difficulty at all. But I can say something about Souls games in general. That is that they have become easier as time has progressed.
But Dead Onion, Bloodborne was released in 2015, and it's harder than Dark Souls.
Shh, quiet. I shall explain. All these games suffer from a certain level of jank and swank. The jank makes the game hard because it limits your movement and your versatility. It basically limits how good you can get at the game because of BS. The swank is just a word I made up, and it has nothing to do with anything. But let us compare Dark Souls to Dark Souls 3. In Dark Souls, you're very slow, you're very limited in your movements. And maybe that's one of the reasons why a lot of the characters are depressed. Let's look at the most frustrating parts of Dark Souls. I got 2 off the top of my head, and one of these is because I just did a video about it. The Bed of Chaos and the Anor Londo Archers. It's clear that this is just BS riding on top of jank, and if we were in the Dark Souls 3 engine, we could handle this no prob. That's because Dark Souls 3 is more adaptive and more responsive. That's one of the reasons why the archers in Dark Souls 3 give you much less trouble than the ones in Dark Souls 1. The newer games are just easier to learn how to play, and for lack of a better term, to get good at. That doesn't mean Bloodborne is easier than Dark Souls, or that Sekiro is easier than Dark Souls 3. In a gameplay situation, when going against an enemy, it's always going to depend on how much time you've invested in the game. If you know what to do, if you are the right level, if you've gotten used to the reaction time or the dodging. And the only real difficulty factor will be how easy the game is to learn for you. A year ago, I would have told you that Sekiro is the hardest game From Software has ever made. But after playing through it, working out all the mechanics, I can say it's the only game I'd feel comfortable with doing a no-death run. I just want to point out that that was charmless, and with the Bell Demon, but I could totally beat Sekiro without dying on its normal difficulty. Wait, what? The hardest perceived From Software game has difficulty settings? What an absolute mad lad. The man who said he wouldn't add difficulty settings added difficulty settings without us even realizing it. We've been duped, we've been scooped, and quite possibly tricked. Miyazaki's like a magician, you know, waving around his hands. Is this your difficulty setting? Is this your difficulty setting? Who knows? I mean, I guess he never put an easy mode, but there's a hard mode, an extra hard mode, and ooh, that's a lot of damage.
Money for everything, silver-toed boots and kerosene.
Maybe next we'll be getting some form of quick save. Who knows? I guess you could argue that all the Souls games have some form of convoluted difficulty setting, but none of them, of course, have the standard go into the menu, easy, hard, super hard, extremely hard, and then you always got like the hardest one where it's like God mode or, you know, super really, really hard, dangerous mode. I'm trying to think of a name. They always have some special name. Solicide mode. There you go, Solicide. And sometimes there's like a caution. It's like if you die, your game will be deleted, your system will get bricked, and we'll send someone to shoot you in the knees. Clearly, Elden Ring isn't going to have a slidey bar that tells the enemies which damage to give, but it might have something like Sekiro. But no, I don't think Elden Ring's going to have an easy mode.
Death is highly overrated.
Back to the question, is Elden Ring hard like Dark Souls? Well, as someone who hasn't played Elden Ring, but has only played Dark Souls, I can only make my educated guess, and I would say that yes, it's going to be as hard as Dark Souls 3 was for you if you played that game. It just seems very similar to me. Now, one last thing. I do think that Elden Ring will be seen as an easier game than Dark Souls 3. Miyazaki even said in a statement that he thinks more people are going to finish Elden Ring than the previous titles. The reason being is actually pretty obvious, and that's because Elden Ring is an open world game, whereas the others are a lot more linear. Yes, there's multiple paths to go through, but there's a lot more places to get stuck. Dark Souls 3 is very enclosed. You start the game and immediately there's a boss, which is a major roadblock for a lot of people. I'm not sure what the final state of the game looks like, but from what I understand, Elden Ring will not be the same way, and will instead give people access immediately to the open field. The reason Miyazaki thinks more people are going to finish the game is because of this open field. You can go anywhere. If you get stuck on a hard enemy or a hard boss, you can go somewhere else. Find something else that interests you. The playthrough is going to continue. No more getting stuck. You can always go somewhere else and get stronger. So in a way, yeah, Elden Ring's going to seem a lot easier And just to make this point clear, I believe that Elden Ring's actual enemy on player difficulty is going to be very similar to Dark Souls 3, but because of the overwhelming amount of options available to the player in Elden Ring, the game is going to be seen as less restrictive and easier to beat. The Soulsborne formula has been honed and perfected. Just by looking at the trailers, we can tell how fluid and immersive this game is. I mean, look at this. Really, just look. Do you see how far From Software has come? It's actually mind-boggling. From Software has really thrown everything they can into this one. We've got the makings of a good story. We have the open world, the amazing graphics, and so many other things that have just been added and perfected. You can really tell, just by looking at the trailers, that this was a project they were passionate about. This is their finest work, and something they really want us to enjoy. Will Elden Ring have flaws? Every game does. But when you look at Miyazaki's amazing track record and the passion that's been poured into this project, how can you not have the highest degree of trust? This game won't fail to deliver like other games have. This is going to be a literal masterpiece. Game of the year, no question. So if you're not hyped, what is wrong with you? Elden Ring is out in 4 days, baby! And no, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be hard. Elden Ring is gonna be just right. And it's gonna be the best game I ever played in my whole freaking life. Elden Ring. Oh. This is Dead Onion, and I'll see you in the next video.
So this is Elden Ring. It just looks like the Dark Souls.